Hello and welcome to day 70 of 73. And today I'd like to talk about grief. I know what it feels like to have to say goodbye to someone who you've loved dearly or cared for, and you're now finding yourself in a situation where you're ultimately saying goodbye to them for the last time. And when all is said and done, there is an interesting relationship that one has with grief. Now, in my particular case, I remember I was barely 16 when my mom passed, and for the better part of my 20s, it was a defining factor of a lot of things that I approached in life, whether it was my driving, being afraid to go on to that next step, having noticed how my mom passed in a car accident, or it would be every now and then thinking about them and feeling a pain in my chest, basically, about how unfair life is and how difficult it is to assume a somewhat normal existence after this particular event happens. And I think that as much as one tries to better themselves, there is an element that I feel I haven't spoken a lot about, which is the grieving part of having to say goodbye to a part of yourself that was a mainstay and something that you or someone that you knew a lot about. And I think that I'm trying to spotlight this at this time because recently there've been examples where I would have thought of myself in a particular situation in the past and how that isn't something that I do anymore, but having a not so much intense feeling of sadness, but there still being a part of me being able to recognize what or how I used to act and the kinds of emotions and feelings that would come about as a result. And I think that in the best ways, yes, we do understand that a growth mindset is ultimately going to be the way in which one is able to do these particular changes in their life. But at that same time, that rupture and repair loop that is needed when this is the focus for one's life is something that you shouldn't treat lightly as well, because there is a very real danger in having these reminiscent feelings or thoughts towards your particular self. And most times I'd say temptation to want to go back is going to be easier during those particular episodes or during those situations where you now have a feeling of longing almost to where that person might have treaded in your past as far as yourself is concerned. And so understanding that you at some point did love this person, and knowing that change ultimately means being able to establish yourself in a new way. It doesn't mean that those particular thoughts and I'd say emotions don't come up, or they don't now in their final throes want to bring you back to wherever that baseline was. And that is a real situation. And I think that being able to understand that you have to give every part of this journey the respect that it deserves is crucial in being able to sustain anything really when it comes to permanence, or when it comes to now becoming that new person. It's being able to respect that it is a journey that only few really choose to follow through to the end, and knowing that should be comfort enough for you to want to move forward, I would say. But yeah, it is a grieving, and tread lightly. Thank you for your time.